We're going to talk about building self-esteem and confidence when you have ADHD. You don't have to have ADHD, on the other hand, in order to have a problem with your self-esteem. A lot of people want to know, how do I climb out of that? Well, a lot of it is choice if you know what the choices are. The fact is, we all have issues. We have beliefs about ourselves that we're inadequate. A lot of us grew up with parenting or other situations that put us down a little too often. And so then we have those self-confidence issues. One of those is struggling through school when you have ADHD. It turns out that the school system as it's set up is not the best fit for those of us with ADHD. We thrive when we're having fun, and lots of times the school system just doesn't provide what we need to fully engage us and teach us well. That's another subject, but the point is that you can reach adulthood with lots of reasons not to have confidence in yourself. There is a point to be made about that, and that is you do not want to believe those messages that there's something wrong with you. And you probably have those beliefs about yourself to some degree, and maybe you know why. Maybe you've had therapy and you know why. But the fact is that you're not inadequate. You were somehow taught to believe something that is not true. You are as adequate as anyone else in the sense that we are all imperfect. We all have flaws. We all have issues that we struggle with, and in general, life is a struggle, or it's one struggle after another. So it serves no purpose for you to think that somehow you don't measure up. In fact, you're talking to yourself, I would say, in the wrong way if you want to feel good about yourself, getting back to self-esteem and self-confidence. So what do you want to believe instead is that I was taught to believe something that's not true. I was taught to believe that there's something fundamentally wrong with me. Well, there's not. You believe that. You believe that you're imperfect. You certainly have your flaws. You are painfully aware of what those flaws are, but you do the best you can. And you know that. You're always doing the best you can with what you have to work with. So it is much better, much happier, in fact, for you to think of yourself as being as strong as you choose to be. You claim the self-esteem. You claim the self-confidence to go forward in life thinking about your strengths instead of your weaknesses. Notice that's a positive mindset. Lots of times people think that a positive mindset is somehow phony. It's not. It's a choice. You have a choice whether to think badly of yourself, or you have the other choice to think well of yourself. Sit down, think about it, wrap your mind around it, and I think you'll see my point. Also, a very important part of self-esteem is to think about the people you surround yourself with. One of the most important rules, I think, in life is you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Obviously, if you have someone close to you who's always putting you down, who's always criticizing you, always worried about you, then that person is not helping. In fact, that person may be keeping you down. So think instead about who are the 5 people that you could spend the most time with. Now, we're not necessarily talking about friends getting together. We may be talking about people that you follow online. For instance, people on YouTube who put out regular videos and they talk about what they've struggled with and what solutions they've come up with, and those are the people you want to be like. So uh, those people can also be in that group of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. The point is you want to be spending your time with people who are successful in the ways you want to be, encouraging, the type of people who lift you up instead of put you down. Lastly, I talk about how you are the captain of your ship. Each of you has a life. You're the captain. You're the one who needs to command that ship. Nobody else is going to do it for you. There are other people who will sound like they want to do it for you. They have all kinds of opinions about what you should do with your life. But the fact is, they don't know as well as you do what's best for you. You are the captain, and you're the one who gets to decide what goes on in your life, on your ship. You get the idea. No one else can sit in that captain's chair but you. So step up and be responsible for your life, and then you will start to feel a self-confidence possibly that you haven't felt before. With ADHD specifically, again, I mentioned earlier, maybe you weren't a good fit for the school system, which was your first major experience in life. Maybe you had parents, on the other hand, who propped you up and encouraged you in spite of the difficulties that you might have been running into. With ADHD, I say to people all the time that it is much more important to understand it than it is to medicate it. And the emphasis there, of course, is not the medication. It is understanding ADHD and how it works. The ADHD brain, well, it has flaws. Lots of brains have flaws. Most brains, I would say, are not perfect brains. I think that if you focus on understanding then how your brain works, and then embrace the idea that there are strengths to the ADHD brain, then things will start to make a whole lot more sense. What are the strengths? It is said that people with ADHD are unusually creative, unusually sensitive and intuitive, and often highly intelligent. When I'm interviewing people, there are those who hesitate to describe themselves as highly intelligent. But if you have ADHD, then you know that there are times when you are hyper-focused. You are so focused and so creative that you're working circles around other people and pulling off brilliant results. Look for those strengths. That is one of those things you do to build your self-confidence. Lastly, Albert Einstein probably had ADHD. He heads the list of famous people with ADHD. So if you consider yourself in the same group as Albert Einstein, you're not doing too bad. So we'll leave it at that. And so go work on your self-confidence. Yeah, it's easy to do. And then, of course, you kind of have to practice those things. It's something that has to grow, and it'll grow over a long period of time.